Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to personalise an orb balloon, and this is an orb balloon. If you're not familiar with it, I'll pop a link above for you now and down below to show you how to inflate an orb properly, because the real big thing with orbs is that they shouldn't have any creases down the seam lines at all, just like this one is here. And I have done an orb video before, but that was before we had the kerning feature in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to show you today how much simpler it makes it using kerning, and I'm also showing you a new method that I've got for personalising these and your deco bubbles as well, so that you can get your design completely straight on your balloon every single time. So far I've probably done about 15 using this method, and actually I haven't had one where the design has come out wonky, and that's really good because it's one of those things that's quite difficult to do, and unless you've got a tried and tested method like the one I'm going to show you today, it can be really hard to get it straight. So this one is the one side, Helen's hen party, and then on the other side we have put bride to be, and it's perfectly straight. It looks great. I'm really pleased with how this balloon has turned out. So let's jump in to showing you how to do it. So here we are then back in Cricut Design Space with a nice blank canvas, and the first thing that we want to do is just type out the text that we're going to want to use on our balloon. So I'm going for bride to be on the one side, and then on the other side it needs to say Helen's hen party. And since the last orb video came out in January-February time, we've had a couple of updates to Cricut Design Space. So now kerning can be automatic, and kerning is basically when your letters are cursive and they are joined together. And in the old video, which I will link above to show you anyway, we had to ungroup everything and join it all together or kern it ourselves. Whereas now, if we go up to change our font like I am now, you'll see the little green check in the box for kerning, and that means that it will show you joined up fonts. I know I want to use Hey Butterfly for this one, so I just typed in Hey and brought that one up. So I'm just going to ungroup everything to lines so that I can make a couple of arrangement changes. I don't like how Cricut Design Space leaves such a massive space in between the lines, and I don't like using the line reduction button because it just takes forever. So I prefer to ungroup to lines and do it manually myself. So I'm just going to rearrange everything how I want it to be now, and then we'll move on to getting everything welded and ready to cut. Don't forget to save your work as soon as you're ready and you've got your wording and your arrangements sorted, because there's nothing more frustrating than actually losing a project halfway through. Okay, so now I'm going to weld all of my words together. So let's just select everything. You can either select by dragging like I am now, or you can go up and use the select all button. And then once you've got it all selected, I'm just going to go down to weld and click on that. And you can see that a couple of the letters have got black centres in them, and this is where kerning doesn't always work. So obviously that's not what we want, so let's undo that. And then what we're going to have to do is ungroup all of these now to letters. So let's just detach and go up to ungroup, and then we're going to have to pull away the letters that are affected. And the reason that those black dots have filled the middles of my letters is because the little tails from the joined up writing are too close to the centre of those letters, so they basically cause like an interference and fill it up with black. So let's just try that again now. So that one's fine now, that's sorted. So let's do the same with this one. So we'll just go up to detach and then ungroup. And then each letter is now individual again. Oh, hang on, let's do ungroup again. Okay, so there we go. That is now ungrouped. So let's just, I can't actually remember which letters it was, so I'm just going to weld it. Oh, it's the E. Okay, so let's undo. And then pull away that E from the L, because it will be the tail of the L that is too close to the E. And we'll just move it along a touch, and then I'll just group it all together and weld it, and then that's okay. So now that is ready to cut. Okay, so I've just rearranged the sizes of the designs that I'm going to put onto the balloon, and I've measured my panel on my balloon for this. So all I'm going to do now is just go up to make it and wait for it to find my machine. Okay, so now I've got 2 mats which it's showing me on the left hand side. It's a basic cut. I don't need to change the material size because I'll cut that out from the big sheets of vinyl that I'm using. And then I'm just going to click on continue. Okay, when it's found my machine, now I'm going to choose premium vinyl for this one. If you haven't got this setting as a favourite, you can go up to browse all materials and you can just type in at the top there in the search box whatever you'd like. So I am using premium vinyl, so let's just select that. And I'm going to leave my pressure on the default pressure. We don't need to change that today. And I'm using the fine point blade as well in clamp B. So I'm going to cut that out now, and I'm going to come back to you when it's ready to be weeded. So now I'm just going to weed this away. Just carefully peel it back. And just use your weeding tool to lift off any bits that you might need to give a little helping hand to. I'm just weeding on the mat as well, just because it makes it a little bit easier with regards to keeping everything stuck down, and you don't have to worry too much about using both hands then. Then when I do the smaller bits, I just switch over to my pin pen. I do find the pin pen to be a bit more accurate for smaller pieces of weeding. Just seems to pick them up really well. Okay, there's one. Let's just flip the mat over. There's one side done. And I'm just going to pop my second one onto the mat to weed it as well. So one thing that I think is important when you're using a balloon like this one is that when you apply your design, you don't just smack it on there and hope for the best, because I like to test my transfer paper or my transfer tape to make sure it's not going to lift off the colour from the balloon, because these are actually printed onto a silver foil with this colour in. So all I'm going to do is just grab a little piece of my transfer paper and just pop it on the top and smooth it down like you would if you were going to apply your design, and then give it a peel back. Now I know that this one isn't going to mark my balloon or take off any of the colour. You can see that none of the colours come off on there, but if you are unsure, I would suggest doing it in an inconspicuous spot on your balloon, so probably down here out the way, or even on the tail before you inflate it. So that's a good test as well. I'm always trying to come up with new ways of applying the vinyl to the balloons and making sure that it's straight, and making sure that it's really easy to do as well, because it is one of those things that you think you've got it straight and then you look at it afterwards and it's really wonky. So this is the latest thing that I've been doing a lot of, and I've been doing a lot of bubbles recently using this method. So I just sandwich it between a corner in a room, and then all I do is just grab my design and I eyeball where it's going to be on the balloon, and I can see looking at it whether it's straight or not. So I can just look at that now and see whether it is straight. And I just tack it on using the transfer paper. Okay, so I've just got it now leaning against the wall, and I'm just going to double check it and look at it. If it's not quite right, I can always make a quick change to it. So what we need to do now is just press down the vinyl, try not to press down the transfer paper as much as you can, so just go over your design. Okay, now it's really hot in the UK at the moment, and I do think that it is affecting the adhesion of the vinyl to the balloon. So just give it a really good press down, and when you've got a change in atmosphere like this, I would suggest that you go really slow when you're peeling it back and press as you go. So I like to fold it back and just press as I go, because it definitely isn't sticking like it would normally. It's really interesting actually to see the differences. Just keep going, peel it back and press as you go. And then once you've got it so that you're quite happy with how it's stuck on, you'll be able to just press it down with your fingers and just make sure that it's got a good adhesion to it. So you can see now that that is perfectly straight on there and both sides look the same. I'm really pleased with how it has turned out, and this method does definitely work. So next time you're doing a balloon, why don't you try using the corner of the room method for your application of your vinyl. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you've found it useful. If you have, I'd love to see you here for the next one. So don't forget to subscribe. If you've got any questions, drop them down below to me. I always try and answer them as soon as I can. And all that's left to be said is have a great week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye!